Hey there guys, in this video I'm going to be doing a clear on the final boss of Dark Visions 29. We're going to be using a Blessing of the Crystals light party to try to get a decentish score against the Leba Raksha, or whatever her name is. So I have a turn chart in the comments, I'll show you the gear at the end. We're going to be doing a turn 5 clear. Let's get in here and give it a go. Now there is a little bit of RNG involved because the boss does randomly different types of elemental attacks, and the one on turn 4, depending on how much damage we take, we don't want to fail the damage score if possible. So during the ambush, there's going to be a AoE Imperil. So what we're going to do, we're going to use Dispel Force to dispel everything as the first action. Now if you don't have that, you can also use the dual cast trick to dispel your own party to get rid of the imperils from the ambush. But there we go. Now we're going to use Wilk to Paws of Prosperity. That's going to be a break immunity buff. If you don't have that, I guess you're going to have to deal with the breaks. We're going to use Eternal Radiance Alina. We're going to do her resist buff. That's 200 resist to ice, light, and dark. A Omni cover on turn 1, and we're going to use her field for a stat buff. Richt is going to sing Zidane's STMR. Ace on this turn is just going to cast Bar Stonega from Golem. This is going to be an 80% stone resist buff, or earth resist buff. And then Zahn on turn 1 is going to give us stop immunity. That's from Lakshmi. So this turn we're Omni covering, and Elena is evading and immune to everything. So no matter what, 0 damage on turn 1. And there's the break. We're immune to the break because of Paws of Prosperity. Okay, so turn 2, we're going to start stacking up Knights of Grandchild. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to wait. We don't want to chain to kill the boss or anything, so we're going to wait for that. Ace is now going to do double stack Mirage with support hands. We're going to do the LB of Elena for that mitigation. We're going to use Wilk to shift here and do Hurricane Fist. This is also going to be a 250 insect killer for himself. Wait for this to finish. Okay, now we're going to use Zahn to Reflector. We're going to do Elemental Mirror on really anyone to refresh those resist buffs. We're going to do Critical Mirror on Wilk to steal that insect killer. And then we're going to do Mythical Mirror, which is a Nethicite ability, to stop the boss's meteor type attack. So this turn, again, is going to be basically 0 damage. It's going to be a little bit of damage on Elena, single target magic. We double Mirage, single target magic, and we Nethicited that meteor thing. And then again, the break we're immune to because of Paws of Prosperity. Okay, this turn, the boss is going to use a fixed random elemental attack on the party, as well as an AoE Dispel. So what we're going to do to deal with this, we're going to use Knights of Grandchild to Calamity Border. You also notice we are now imperiled, and we're not getting rid of that imperil. It was just too action intensive to get rid of it. So now we're going to use Ace to once again Mirage the party with a support hand. We're going to use Elena from Tetra to Bar Aroga the party. We're going to use Wilk to do Vengeance of the Dreadnought to 90% break the boss. And now we're going to use Zahn to hide, because we don't want to lose that 250 insect killer we got earlier. So we're going to stealth to not get dispelled. Now, depending on what element the boss chooses, we might take a little bit of damage here. It should be minimal damage. And we took 0 damage. I didn't see which one it was. Oh, and then the wind attack. The wind attack is minor because we have resist buff and we have mitigation from Elena. The elemental attack the boss chose, I didn't see which one it was, but it was the one we're completely immune to. The other one would have dealt like 1,000 damage. It would have been fine also. Now we're turn 4. We got completely dispelled though. So what we're going to do, Knights of Grandchild are going to do 150 amp, fill LB, and then give me the strength. We're going to use Richt to shift here. And now we're going to finally do some good breaks on the boss. We're going to do 80, I'm sorry, let's do this in a different order. Let's have Richt do Luminous Burst for the Light Imperil, Hope Entrusted for the 150 Light Amplify, and Radiant Protection to do an 87 break on the boss so we take less damage here. Okay, Wilk is going to go to the base form, and we're going to do Zephyr for the Wind Resist, Memories for the attack buff, as well as the mod boost, and then we're going to focus Wind Stance himself to give himself a Wind Imbue, so we're going to mix elements on Wilk. We're going to use Elena to shift here, and we're going to do in the shifted form. We're going to do Ice Imbue on herself. We're going to 150 Ice Amp, and then Grace for modifier buff. Ace is going to quad attack. We're going to do Support Hand to Mirage the party. Then we're going to do In Light Gun. That's going to give Light Element to Wilk and Elena. It's gonna dilute their better imperils or better amplifies, but we need to add light to them to give them the party bonus. So we're going to AoE Light Imbue everyone. We're going to Mirage. We're going to 150 Amp himself, and then we're going to Let's Make This Count for Mod Buff and Focus. And now Zahn is going to... Elena also gave herself a 400% spirit buff this turn. So we're going to Reflector. We're going to steal the spirit buff from Elena with critical. We're going to now spread those killers and those buffs from earlier, and all those resist buffs from phase 1 are still on Zahn. Zahn still has lots of resist buff. And then we're going to Deathicite the other meteor attack with Mythical. Now, again, this turn we don't have all the mitigations. So depending on the skill the boss chooses, we may or may not take a decent amount of damage here. It should still be under 5k, but it depends on the element the boss chooses. So... That was the good element. The ball, we took 0 damage. 0 damage. So perfect. So we have a perfect damage taken score. Now what we're going to do is, now we're going to kill. Everyone's going to chain the kill term. So we're going to shift Wilk. So Wilk, as you can see at the top, the boss has a 90 defense break, an 87 spirit break, forget that. And Wilk has 550 killer. Forget the wind though. Here's Richt. Now Richt, you see the boss has it's not showing the light resistance. The boss is at negative 145 light. It's not showing that. The boss is actually weaker to wind. But we don't have a good wind party. Anyway, we're going to LB Richt in the shift form. We're going to shift it LB Wilk. We're going to LB Zahn. We're going to shift it LB Elena. We're going to SLB Ace, and we're going to shift it LB Knights of Grandshell. So we're going to send Wilk and Zahn first because they're the lowest damage dealers. They're going to build the chain a little bit with double Extreme Nova. Both of them are using Extreme Nova. That's going to be a 60 count chain. After like halfway through that chain, we're then going to send pretty much everyone else. So Elena, Richt, and Ace are all triple Bolting Strike, and Knights of Grandshell are going to be capping. Also, Elena, by going before Knights of Grandshell in the clicking order, is going to give a 35 Greatsword and Peril for Knights of Grandshell. So I'm going to pause the video here until I get a nice variance roll, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the final score. So, see you in a sec. Alright guys, let's see if we get a good variance roll. So we're going to send them first. Once the chain starts, we're going to send the rest. And here we go. We are hoping for high numbers. 142 count chain means you did it properly. And we're looking for like 18.5 or better. This party can go as high as 21. We're not going to get that high because that requires God tier variance. 18.5, that's fine. So this party can go as high as 21. Again, it's the first few days. This Dark Visions lasts for 3 entire weeks. We're getting probably a global exclusive sometime in the next 2 weeks. So I'm not going to sweat going for a high roll right now. So there it is, new record. And here is the damage breakdown. So I'll just give you a brief overcap on the party that I'm currently using. Knights of Grandshell are between 3.5 to 5.7. They got a high roll. Ace is between 2.6 to 3.6. Ace got basically a minimum roll. Wow, he sabotaged us there. Rick is between 5 to 8.2. He got a 7.6, high roll on Rick. Wilk is between 1.3 to 2.1. He's basically perfectly average. And then Elena is between 1.1 to 1.5. She got near perfect. Okay, so perfect roll on Elena, high roll on Rick, minimum roll on Ace, pretty much average for Wilk and Knights of Grandshell. So that was an overall a decent run. It's funny that Elena got a perfect roll and she still did the worst damage in the party. Honestly speaking, Elena probably should be replaced. And again, that's the kind of thing I'll work out over the course of the next 2 weeks, or 3 weeks actually, is better team compositions. People were asking though, show me your team, you know, what are you using? So here's an early team. If you're looking for the best possible score, well, for one thing, this is not the place for that. I'm definitely not a top 10 Dark Visions player. But if you're looking for my best score, that'll probably be coming in 3 weeks after I've had time to really plan out better options, because I don't think Elena is worth it here. I will definitely figure out better ways to handle the damage incoming and get a better damage score. Anyway, this is the party we're using. So, whoops. Let's see. So, Knights of Grandchild in the base form. Titus's Garb, some resist, Dispel Force. If you don't have that, give him Dual Cast and Lena's STMR. There we go. Shift form is, and by the way, in the base form, or the non-DPS form, most of the damage dealers have like 100 resist across the board, just so we take basically less damage on turn 3. And then there we go. Shift form is LB damage versus insects. Calamity Border as well. Bug Killer. There's the card. And then here is some resistances. Not super great, but there it is. You don't need any status immunity on this party, by the way. Ace in the same, only one form is a little low on things like wind resist and all that. Not much I can do about that. Double Garland's Cloak to help him with some resistances. Other than that, you know, typical dual wield build, maxed Bug Killer. He's maxed LB damage, maxed everything. We gave him the Wish Granting card. Richt in the base form, high resistances, auto mitigation. I wanted to go with you, Zidane's STMR, just saying in the base form. And then in the shift form, you know, whatever resistances are there it is. 19.3 attack power, very, very high. There's his setup, maxed on everything. He is the carry here. Wilk in the base form, Titus's Garb, high resistances, his Fist, Paws of Prosperity so that we can do break immunity if you own it. Again, just resistances. Shift form is, there's the resistances. And then here's the build. We got to go with the Fist, by the way, because the Fist are what gives the Insect Killer. So 250 Insect Killer with the Fist, some resistance gear so that we don't take as much damage. A decent card. And then Zahn is using 110 or better resist across the board because we don't want him taking any damage. He's a 7-star. Full evasion, Obsidian Bracer to break the boss on turn 1. We didn't actually use the break material, so ignore that. And then that's Zahn's build. And then Elena in the base form is 100 or better resist across the board. High Spirit, full evasion, passive provoke. And yeah, there it is. And she's on the Tetra Sylphid Esper for Bar Aroga. Shift form is, her spirit's so high, honestly, the gear doesn't even matter. But as far as bulk goes. But full spirit shift form, maxed out Insect Killer, 75% in all 4 slots, gives it maxed out. And then her own card. And yeah, there was my clear. I'll do better in a week or two. I'm not really going to stress this fight on the first week because, again, we're definitely getting a clash before the end of the month. That's going to bring global exclusives. That's going to probably change things up. So look for an updated clear of mine in a week or two. Okay, see you in a bit.